Every day, something dramatic happens in the Caribbean that affects our lives. We'll give you the details. We'll give you the facts on Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick. Here's Eddie Frederick.
So glad you can join us. CARICOM ramps up interest in helping Haiti solve its challenges. This story takes the lead in today's edition of Caribbean Perspective for Friday, 10th November 2023, brought to you in association with our friends at Antillean Group. Details when we return.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all, perils big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so clear to see. Peace of mind, that's a service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Welcome back. CARICOM Eminent Persons Group returns to Haiti. More in this ZNS News report.
Well, former Prime Minister, the Honorable Perry Christie, is in Haiti tonight as one of CARICOM's three-member CARICOM Eminent Persons Group focused on assisting Haitian stakeholders to bring stability to that troubled island nation. Haiti's story, an all too familiar one of growing social disorder. According to the United Nations, crime, including murders, rapes, kidnappings, and lynchings, have risen. Haiti has been in a downward spiral since the assassination of its president, Jovenel Moïse, back in 2021. The EPG's last visit in Haiti didn't end well. A statement from CARICOM at the time noted that the group was disappointed that the tone of the discussions had hardened and that the positions of some stakeholders had regressed significantly. The EPG remained hopeful, though, that with determination and goodwill, the interest of Haiti would be the overriding concern of all stakeholders.
In the meantime, Grand Bahama residents weigh in on the naming of a new government complex in 8 Mile Rock in honor of the late O.B. Wilchcomb.
A special naming ceremony for the administrative complex in 8 Mile Rock is slated to take place on Monday, November 13th. The government has revealed its intentions to name the complex in honor of the late Honorable O.B. Wilchcomb. Tonight, Grand Bahama residents are endorsing the naming of the administrative complex in his memory, extolling it as a fitting tribute to the Member of Parliament for West Grand Bahama and Bimini and the former Minister of Social Services, Information and Broadcasting.
I think it's time that we start naming these buildings and schools and other common, local public places after persons who are deserving of it.
The administrative complex in 8 Mile Rock will be named in honor of the late Honorable O.B. Wilchcomb. Louis Thurston, a resident of Grand Bahama, believes that it is time the buildings of significance and the streets be named after honorable individuals who are deserving.
I don't believe there can be a better choice. He's more deserving of it than anybody else that you can think about. It'll really be it'll be a no-brainer for me to even suggest anything negative about that.
This is a great thing. You know what I mean? He was a good man. The person is a good person. Give him what his rightfully is. He done a great job for the Bahamian people. They appreciate him.
Residents of 8 Mile Rock sharing similar sentiments, underscoring the support for the naming of the complex in Wilchcomb's honor. Amidst questions raised by some regarding the timing with concerns of it being tied to political strategies ahead of a by-election, these individuals firmly assert that there is no more opportune moment for this gesture.
Like I say, what time is the best time,
It couldn't have been about a time because the by-election is because of his death. He's the one who was in the area, and because of that, you can't find a better time to do it than now.
When would be the right time? What I say is, it's been overdue for the opening, but this time is just as good as any.
6 police officers are now in police custody in Trinidad and Tobago after they were detained by officers of the Professional Standards Bureau at the Aruca Police Station on Tuesday. Mark Bassant of TV6 News has that story.
One corporal and 5 police constables attached to the Northern Division Task Force are now in police custody after they were detained by officers of the Professional Standards Bureau on allegations of soliciting and misbehavior in public office. Senior police sources told TV6 News that the officers were held for questioning at the Aruka police station shortly after noon. The officers, according to well-placed sources, allegedly went to the house of a drug lord in East Trinidad last Monday and seized a quantity of cash, marijuana, and camouflage uniforms. They allegedly told the drug lord that if he paid them the sum of $60,000, they would return his items. Sources say that on the same day, the drug lord paid the officers $50,000 in cash and the items were returned. The following day, the drug lord went to the Professional Standards Bureau and made a report. Following investigations by the PSB, the officers were held today. Mark Bassant, TV6 News.
As the Philip J. Pear administration in St. Lucia prepares to enter its 3rd year in office, the SLP executive has taken a critical look at the government's performance to date. Solange Alfred of HTS News Force reports.
If you take that manifesto today and you start to tick, you'd realize one by one we are doing all the things that we promised.
During an SLP press conference, Deputy Chairman Michael Willius stated that the St. Lucia Labour Party is taking stock of the SLP administration's performance as they approach 2024 and the start of their 3rd year of governance.
We're through, but we are more than halfway through the promises we made in the manifesto. We said we were going to build a youth economy. We started it. We said we were going to give support to small business. We have the MSME loan facility. We said we were going to support housing. One of our first programs was to roll out housing for repairs for people all across the country. $10 million. We're in the phase 2 of that program now. We said we were going to give support to education. We said we were going to get rid of the facilities fees. We said we were going to support paying fees for CXC for maths and English. All the promises we made, if you take the manifesto, you will see that we are taking it off.
The St. Lucia Labour Party is looking to silence its detractors and naysayers through its continued effort to deliver to the people of St. Lucia. The executive exalted Prime Minister Philip J. Pear's fiscal prudence in managing the finances of the country.
Financing of St. Jude's, which he has been able to gain from the Saudi fund. Okay? As a matter of fact, I thought it was almost ludicrous that at a point where the Prime Minister had actually been able to secure the money to go on to finish the hospital, that's the point at which the opposition thought that they should be mounting a march. Of course, disregarding the fact that for 3 years they did nothing. And when they left, the hospital was still not completed. And what I say to the leadership of the party, my own position is avoid an unnecessary debate and argument with UWP. Finish the hospital. To me, that's the most important thing. And that's what will provide me with pleasure that I'm going into another election and the St. Jude Hospital is completed. And back and forth as to who is to blame and who is to... At the end of the day, let us deliver a hospital to the people.
General Secretary Leo Clark reminded the duly elected representatives to stay focused on delivering benefits to the people of St. Lucia.
You're listening to Caribbean Perspective with Eddie Frederick in association with our friends at
Antillean Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.
Venezuela seems very impatient to await the decision of the International Court of Justice to resolve a long-standing boundary dispute with Guyana. Moves have been made by Venezuela to hold a 3rd December referendum that some believe could be a means to enable the use of military aggression against Guyana. Glenn Bart of SKN Newsline has more.
At stake is the western two-thirds of Guyana, known as Essequibo, an area that was given to Guyana since the 19th century, but Venezuela believes it has a claim on the area much earlier. With the threat of military force being used by Venezuela, the Caribbean community issued an official statement to Venezuela. For St. Kitts and Nevis, both countries enjoy diplomatic relations, and for Venezuela, we celebrated recently the 40th year of diplomatic relations. When Prime Minister Dr. Terence Drew was asked to provide St. Kitts and Nevis' official stance on the dispute, it was clear that the country's position aligned with the regional grouping on the CARICOM.
We have relations with both Guyana and we have relations also with Venezuela. Just recently, we celebrated the 40th anniversary. Our position is that this region is a region of peace. And as I've said before, that we will do all we can to control this region remains a region of peace. And so I know that discussions are taking place. I am not in a position to speak to all the specifics of those discussions. But the thrust of those discussions is to make sure that we remain a zone of peace and that the best position is reached to ensure that. That is where we are at with respect to our position with Venezuela and Guyana. And I think, well, I know the foreign minister mentioned it in his statement when he spoke at the ceremony, small ceremony, to commemorate the 40th year of establishment with respect to our relations between Guyana and Venezuela and St. Kitts and Nevis. So that is our position, that we'll continue to make sure that we put our position forward and help in the process that this area remains a zone of peace and the best position is reached with respect to these two nations. And we're not going to compromise.
The CARICOM statement noted, however, that, quote, the referendum proposed by Venezuela has no validity, bearing, or standing in international law in relation to this controversy, end quote. It is believed that a successful referendum will undermine peace and security in the Caribbean region. Glenn Barth reporting for SK Newsline.
And over in Jamaica, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has condemned the killing of 3, including 2 primary school students, by bandits. Renata Burnett of HGP Nightly News reports.
In Jamaica, Prime Minister Andrew Holness has condemned the killing of 3 persons, including 2 9-year-old schoolboys in St. James on Monday evening, saying when children are attacked, all of society must stand up and say, enough is enough. Justin Perry and his schoolmate Nakovi Smith of Chetwood Primary and a man who remains unidentified were shot and killed by gunmen while traveling in a taxi at around 6 p.m. near Meggie Top in the Flower Hill community. The boys were en route from the school. Holness said, and I quote, this barbaric and merciless act of terror demonstrates once again that gunmen and gangs are a clear and present threat to the foundations of our free and democratic society, unquote. He lamented that the response to criminal terrorists must also contend with a narrative that oftentimes seems to offer greater protection to criminals with lighter sentences and preservation of their lives and freedoms, rather than supporting stronger punitive, proactive and preemptive measures against these terrorists while securing redress and restoration for the victims.
Hi, I'm Eddie Frederick, wishing you a restful weekend. This has been Caribbean Perspective, a whole new approach to highlighting developments in the Caribbean. In the meantime, please follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily regional news and more, in association with our friends at Antillian Group.
Believe in our strength, we'll stand by you. Protection from all perils, big and small. Reassurance we give, it's so glad to see. Peace of mind, that's our service guarantee. We look after all our family. Yes, we do at every opportunity.
Antillian Group, underwriters of all classes of insurance solutions for your protection and investment. Live well financially.